Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Waggoner, and I'm here today to talk about this special topic, the science and potential of lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is something that I've been involved with for more than 40 years, and I think it has an incredible potential for the human race as we continue to move forward. So my first question is this: how many years have you spent in the dream state? So think about that for a second. Science says that during our sleep state, we spend about 23% of the time on average in dreaming. So when you think about your age, though, how many years have you spent in dreaming? Now, if you do the math, you'll see that by age 24, you've already spent 2 entire years in dreaming. And by age 36, it'd be 3 years. By age 48, 4 entire years of dreaming. But no matter how old you are, how much do you really know about dreaming? If you spent 2 years in a foreign country, you would know about the culture, the food, the language, the society. But what about 2 entire years in dreaming? What do you know about dreaming? So what we're going to get in today is the idea of lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming gives us a new way to explore the unconscious mind, as well as understand the importance of dreaming. So lucid dreaming is defined by the American Psychological Association Dictionary as a dream in which the sleeper is aware that he or she is dreaming and may be able to influence the progress of the dream narrative. So that's the official definition. But for many of us lucid dreamers, we would just say lucid dreaming is realizing within a dream that you are dreaming. You know this is a dream. So think about that for a moment. What does that mean? You find yourself in a dream, but at the time you just accept it as a sort of reality. And then suddenly you have this insight and understand, wait a second, this is a dream. So you have a sudden insight that leads you to a realization. And like the Zen garden in this image, it's in many ways like a moment of Zen. You understand the actual nature of your existence. You understand, oh, I'm in a dream now, instead of being fooled by the appearances of things. So lucid dreaming, it always involves a sudden insight. You can probably understand this better if you consider a normal dream. So think of a normal dream. You're walking in the downtown area of a large city and suddenly Tyrannosaurus Rex appears. What happens? Well, normally you react. You accept this as valid, as true. You create a story to justify it. Oh, this dinosaur must have appeared from a museum someplace and was genetically revived somehow. You create a story which in a sense justifies what's happening, but altogether, when you think about it, you lack critical awareness. You just accept whatever happened and go along with it. You might run and get your family. You might tell others, get out of here, there's a dinosaur. But that's what a normal dream is like. So now let's think about a lucid dream. But in a lucid dream, suddenly you see that dinosaur and you think, wait a second, dinosaurs are extinct. How can this be? And at that moment, you realize, oh, this must be a dream. I'm dreaming that. And when you have that realization, then technically you're lucidly aware. So once you're lucidly aware, you can begin to make choices. Do you want to fly up and get away from the dinosaur? Or do you want to go up to the dinosaur and say, what do you represent? And oftentimes you'll hear it respond to you and tell you exactly what it represents. You can do whatever you want at this moment. You can begin to explore the dream state while consciously aware, while knowing this is a dream. You can conduct experiments. not only your own personal experiment, but also scientific experiments as well. And finally, you can learn. You can learn about the nature of the unconscious, about the nature of dreaming, about the nature of this other state of reality. One beautiful thing about lucid dreaming, when you truly become lucid, is you let go of fear. You know it's a dream dinosaur. There's nothing here that can hurt you. And once you have that freedom from fear, then you can go even deeper. Now, people often ask, does scientific proof exist for lucid dreaming? And the beautiful thing is, the answer is yes. The evidence begins back in the spring of 1975. Keith Hearn was a researcher at the University of Hull who met a lucid dreamer named Alan Worsley, who said he could become consciously aware within his dreams. And Keith Hearn wondered, well, how could you scientifically validate lucid dreaming? How could you validate this? And then he had an idea. He brought Alan Worsley into the sleep lab, and he told him, when you become consciously aware within a dream, we'll have these rapid eye movement polygraph pads on your eyes that shows you're in regular dreaming. But when you become consciously aware, I want you to move your eyes left to right 8 times, and that'll show up on the rapid eye movement polygraph pad readout, and that'll provide evidence for lucid dreaming. They also had some other pieces on Alan Worsley to show that he remained in the sleep state. So it was April 12th of 1975. Alan Worsley was in the sleep lab. Suddenly, in the dream state, he became consciously aware that he was dreaming. He remembered the signal by moving his eyes left to right 8 times, and that was the very first evidence for lucid dreaming. 2 years later at Stanford University, Stephen LaBerge did basically the same experiment, not knowing about Keith Hearn's work. He brought himself into the sleep lab, moved his eyes when he became consciously aware within the dream, and had the rapid eye movement polygraph pad information to show that. So he was one of the first people to widely distribute his research in well-known journals and became connected with this scientific evidence for lucid dreaming. Now, since that time, there's been a lot of scientific research on lucid dreaming. And just to give you a rough example of some of the areas of research, there's neurological research. So they'll bring lucid dreamers into the sleep lab. They'll put a 19-channel EEG, electroencephalogram cap on their head to measure their brain activity. And then they'll signal with their eyes when they're consciously aware within the dream. And in that way, researchers can see, what does brain activity look like in a lucid dream? So there's been some wonderful neurological research on that done by Martin Dressler in the Netherlands, Ursula Voss, J. Allen Hobson at Harvard, and others who have researched lucid dreaming. Also, lucid dreaming has been used for psychotherapeutic activity, basically with people who have recurring nightmares because of post-traumatic stress disorder. That's one of the most common symptoms of PTSD, is recurring nightmares. And the very first work occurred back in 1982, where a psychotherapist, Gordon Holliday, asked the people who are having recurring nightmares to become aware within their nightmare and then just change one thing in the lucid dream. What he discovered is that by changing one thing, suddenly their nightmares ceased. They quit having nightmares every night, and they could return to regular sleep habits. So it's gone on and also improved just the whole field of recurring nightmares, this work on lucid dreaming. Also, there's been scientific research on how lucid dreaming affects the body. So Stephen LaBerge would do experiments where he would ask people to become lucidly aware in the sleep lab. And then he had put measurements on their arms to measure muscle movement. So they would signal with their eyes they were lucid dreaming, and then they would clench their fist in an alternating pattern in the lucid dream. And what he discovered is that actually there was physical muscle movement at a low level in their arms in an alternating pattern. So there's been a fair amount of research to show that lucid dreaming actually affects the body. In Germany, there's been research to look at how lucid dreaming could help a person enhance their waking skills. For example, there was a psychotherapist, Paul Foley, who was quite a lucid dreamer and wrote a book on the subject. And he used lucid dreaming to perfect his skills in downhill skiing, in doing a number of certain things. And he showed other people that they could practice their waking skills in a lucid dream. And for example, do maneuvers in their downhill skiing in the lucid dream that normally they wouldn't do in the waking world. And in that way, they began to develop a certain kind of muscle memory. So it's interesting to think that a survey showed that in Germany, of the professional athletes, something like 8 or 9% of them were using lucid dreaming to enhance their skills, to enhance their level of attainment in their area of skills, and felt like they were having success with it. Now, there's also been research on interacting with dream figures when you're lucidly aware, and much more. So I'm not going to go into all the details, but I just want to get across the idea that lucid dreaming has been researched. And of course, there's always more research that can be conducted.